We've heard numerous stories about how cannabis has helped so many people with various illnesses. So on today's show, we thought it'd be great to bring in someone who can talk about their own personal struggle and how cannabis assisted them. So Holly Bennett's joining us, and thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now let's talk about this, because we hear, people using cannabis for various reasons. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your story, and then we can ask a couple of questions regarding that.
Yeah, for sure. So I've been using cannabis or weed, however you want to call it, for many years now. What I didn't realize is a long time ago, I was actually self-medicating. I have very bad anxiety and depression. And a long time ago, I started smoking weed because it actually helped me. And I would try to explain this to my parents and family members, and they didn't really believe me or get it. I was diagnosed officially with anxiety and depression when I was 17, and I was put on a whole bunch of pharmaceutical drugs. Let me be clear, I'm still on some of those pharmaceutical drugs, but ever since starting medical cannabis and actually using it in a responsible manner and knowing exactly what I'm taking, the proper doses, the proper strains, I've reduced the amount of pharmaceuticals that I'm on by 50%.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's been really remarkable for me, and countless others. And I think it's important to know that, somebody such as myself who is not terminally ill by any means, but struggles with mental health issues, can use cannabis. So you don't need to be, having cancer or, MS, for example, to benefit from medical cannabis.
Tell us what the acronyms are, because
yes,
there'll be a lot of people who won't know what
for sure.
that
So
is.
CBD stands for cannabidiol. It's one of the non-psychoactive components in the cannabis plant, which means it doesn't make you feel high. There's no intoxicating effects from it. THC is probably more commonly known when associated with cannabis. It's the component that makes you feel high, or can make you feel high in certain doses. It stands for delta-9 tetrahydrocannabinol. So a long.
I knew that.
Yeah.
Whoa.
A year ago, I was taking 150 milligrams of Zoloft every day, and I've cut down on that, slowly but surely. I've been titrating down to 75 milligrams of Zoloft every day. So that's because I approached my doctor and I said, look, ever since taking CBD oil and also working with physician to use THC products in an appropriate manner, I've actually don't feel like I need the pharmaceuticals so much. So let's just reduce by 25 milligrams and see how it goes. And if I get bad or it doesn't work for me, I'm happy to stay at my normal dose, but I'd like to give it a try. So I did, and I slowly started reducing, and I realized, hey, I don't need the full dose that I was originally prescribed.
So you've used both, because it sounded like you said you were using the oil, but you've also used the product or cannabis with the THC in it.
Exactly. Yeah.
So when because I'm assuming you wouldn't use the THC during work hours or when you're driving?
Contrary
obviously.
to popular belief, I actually do use THC during the day, but I use such a small dose that I don't feel high. So I personally use 2.5 milligrams of THC in a capsule form, along with my CBD oil during the day, but I function completely normally. I don't feel high at all. I don't feel intoxicated. It's called microdosing, when you take such a small amount of medicine that it doesn't impact your cognitive functionality, but I know it works for me, because when I don't take it, I do feel more anxious, and I do feel, symptoms of my depression creeping in.
We have to stress this over and over again. You need to seek.
Self-medicate.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't self-medicate. Seek professional advice, whether it's someone, at a Apollo Clinic or someone locally that you want to speak to. Talk to your physician in order to find that out, because the last thing you want to do is, self-medicate. Now, before we go, we've got one piece of advice that maybe you could give to young adults, your age or younger, who are struggling with whether it's anxiety or depression. What is the best approach for them when you're moving forward? I'm not talking recreationally. I'm talking the need for medicinal use. What is their best bet?
Their best bet is to first off speak with their family physician. We know a lot of family physicians aren't comfortable with the idea of medical cannabis, especially for young people. So then it's also good to look into the option of a medical cannabis clinic. Look to experts who are open to this type of medicine and are experts at prescribing it. And I would also say look to your support system as well. Open up the dialogue with your parents and with your friends. Two things that have a lot of stigma are mental health and cannabis. So if you're struggling with your mental health and you're looking to cannabis, one of the things you can do is open up that conversation with those around you, so that you start to reduce that stigma and break down those barriers, so that you can actually help yourself and help others.